Before we can do this next section of notes, we need to add 3 things in here. I guess I'm going to do it along the left here. Parallel lines have the same slope, and perpendicular lines, your slopes are negative reciprocals. I'm going to write reciprocals under here. Slopes of parallel lines are negative reciprocals. That's R-E-C-I-P-R-O-C-A-L-S. And negative reciprocals are like 2 and negative 1/2, negative 10 and 1/10, and also 0 and undefined are perpendicular lines. So we need to look at these slopes and tell whether they're perpendicular, parallel, or neither. So we will have 2 subtract a negative 1 over 0 subtract a negative 1. When we zip-zap those, we will have 3 over 1, which is 3. And right here, 3 subtract 1, negative 3 subtract 3 would be 2 over negative 6, which reduces to negative 1/3. 3 and negative 1/3 are negative reciprocals, so those lines are perpendicular. Letter B, 2 subtract a negative 2 over 1 subtract a negative 3. When you zip-zap that, you have 4. When you zip-zap that, you have 4. 4 over 4 is 1. Now on the bottom here, I think that is 4 subtract a negative 4, and negative 2 subtract 2, which becomes 8 over negative 4, which is negative 2. So those lines are not perpendicular and they are not parallel. Letter C, 1 subtract a negative 3, 1 subtract a negative 1 becomes 4 over 2, which is 2. And the second line, EF, 3 subtract 1, 0 subtract a negative 1 is 2 over 1, which is 2. So those lines are parallel. The next 3 examples, very similar. 1 subtract a negative 2, 3 subtract 3. That becomes 3 over 0, and that is undefined. And the second one, 3 subtract 3, 4 subtract a negative 2 is 0 over 6, which is 0. And that's kind of a special case. This is a vertical line and a horizontal line. Those 2 are perpendicular. The next one, negative 3 subtract a negative 4, negative 2 subtract a negative 4. When you zip-zap that, we have 1. Zip-zap that, we have 2. So 1/2. And the line MN, 1 subtract a negative 1, 3 subtract a negative 5. That looks like it becomes 2 over 8, which is 1/4. So these are neither perpendicular or parallel. And the last one, 5 subtract 1 over 3 subtract 1 would be 4 over 2. And then 4 subtract a negative 6 over 3 subtract a negative 2 would be 10 over 5. So those 2 lines both have a slope of 2. Parallel lines have the same slope. So those are parallel. And we do have one more page of notes. So we're looking at some systems here. These are both perpendicular, so all of these angles are 90 degrees. So we can write a system, 6x minus 2y equals 90, 3x plus 2y equals 90. And you'll notice you've been given some very nice numbers. If you add everything going down, you will have 9x. Positive 2y and negative 2y cancel out, equals 180. And if you divide both sides by 9, your x equals 20. You do need to go back, substitute in, and figure out your y value. I'm going to put it in the second equation right here. 3 times 20 is 60, plus 2y equals 90. You will subtract 60 from both sides, and you have 2y equals 30, and your y ends up equaling 15.